Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. We are in the middle of Ramadan, the holiest month in the Muslim world. But as KPBS reporter Alexander Wen shows us, the war in the Middle East is casting a shadow over the month of prayers and reflection.
We have never expected that in the month of Ramadan to see another war start.
At the end of this Friday's service, Imam Taha Hassan directly addressed the war in the Middle East. It started last Friday in the middle of Ramadan, and it's weighing on the minds of many worshippers at the Islamic Center of San Diego, like Khalid Helmi.
It's really unfortunate, and it's very, very difficult for all of us right now.
Like many here, Helmi has family in the Middle East and doesn't know how the war will affect them.
We feel so deeply hurt by their situation. And the genocide that's happening there.
Hassan calls the war illegal and says the community is hurting.
It's really disturbing, you know, and at the time when we are supposed to engage more in reflection and worship and all that stuff, and then waking up every morning watching the news about the war taking place over there, this is something that no one was expecting.
Ramadan is a time for prayers and reflection. At the end of Ramadan is a celebratory festival called Eid. Some of the congregants here tell me they don't feel like celebrating this year.
It's not something that you know sits well with you, right? You want to try and have everybody have harmony and peace during this time, and for there to be a war, it's disheartening.
During the last 10 days of Ramadan, Muslims pray for mercy and forgiveness. But mercy and forgiveness are not on President Trump's mind as he appears to rule out talks with Iran without an unconditional surrender. As the war entered its 7th day, Israel isn't letting up, striking targets in Iran and Lebanon, while Iran is striking back at Israel and Gulf countries. Hassan says the only thing anyone can do right now is pray. Alexander Wen, KPBS News.
Recent cartel violence in Mexico has rattled locals and tourists during peak travel season. And now, with spring break around the corner and the 2026 World Cup ahead, many are wondering, is it safe to travel there? Maribel Gonzalez has the latest updates from the U.S. State Department and what travelers should know.
There is no risk to visitors. That's what Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum assured the public 2 days after the killing of cartel leader Nemesio El Mencho Ceguera Cervantes set off a wave of retaliatory violence affecting areas popular with foreign tourists, including Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara. This week, the U.S. State Department indicated the situation in Mexico has largely returned to normal, but it cautioned spring break travelers that the risk of crimes and kidnappings remains.
There are places within Mexico that are very, very safe for tourists to go.
Still, Daniel Richards, who heads a global security firm, says travelers should do their part to stay safe.
Be aware of your surroundings. Don't just get into a car or a random taxi or, do things that might make you a target of opportunity.
And for any trip, travel experts say it's a good idea to protect it.
I just booked my travel with a credit card that offers trip delay and cancellation protection. Now, that won't cover you in huge political events, things like that, but it will cover you if you're caught up in a storm and you end up stuck in an airport for a few days and you have to buy a hotel and meals and an Uber.
With less than 100 days remaining until the 2026 FIFA World Cup kicks off, Mexico says it is ready to welcome the crowds, beefing up security ahead of the big event. I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
Winds are picking up. We're going to be dealing with a very gusty breeze through the weekend. A Santa Ana wind event stepping in. Now, on this side of the wet season, we have the benefit of recent moisture in the plants and the vegetation, so that will mitigate some of the fire risk compared to if we had the same event in the month of, say, October. So we're in better shape than your typical fall event, but still, it's going to be windy. Could be some spotty power outages, wind advisories in inland parts of San Diego County until 5 p.m. Sunday. Details ahead.
There's a last-minute switch tonight in the races for 2 congressional seats in the North County. Supervisor Jim Desmond has withdrawn from the race for the 49th District seat currently held by Democrat Mike Levin and pulled papers to run in the nearby 48th Congressional District. That seat is currently held by fellow Republican Darrell Issa. Desmond's campaign website was updated this afternoon to show the change in district. Issa has also pulled papers but hadn't filed them as of last night's update from the Registrar of Voters. The deadline was 5 p.m. today. We reached out to the Issa and Desmond campaigns for comment, but neither has responded. The federal Section 8 program helps eligible residents pay their rent, but wait lists are closing around the county. iNews Source reporter Katie Futterman has the story.
Nearly every housing authority in San Diego has either stopped placing people on the Section 8 waitlist into homes or closed the list altogether. And even those still accepting new applicants say they don't know how much longer that will happen. Section 8 helps low-income families, older adults, and people with disabilities access affordable housing in most cities countywide. But both the county and city of San Diego closed their waitlists in February. Over 120,000 people were on the county's list, and 27 of them were added in just the last 2 years. No one is expected to move from the list into affordable housing for years. National City and Encinitas stopped taking people from their lists, and Carlsbad closed its list years ago. That's because federal funding for Section 8 hasn't kept up with rising rent. Here's Kim Johnson from the National Low-Income Housing Coalition.
Public housing authorities are drawing down their funding more quickly because of that increase in funding to try to keep up with currently assisted households.
Oceanside's waitlist remains open, though an official tells us he isn't sure how much longer that will last. For KPBS, I'm iNews Source reporter Katie Futterman.
It's not snowing as much as it used to in Colorado and Utah. The Rocky Mountains that feed the Colorado River are in severe drought. In this week's Why It Matters segment, Scott Lewis explains how San Diego is preparing to help other western regions.
The Colorado River feeds Lake Mead near Las Vegas, and that's where San Diego County gets much of our water. Lake Mead is only at 34% capacity. Higher up the river, the Lake Powell Reservoir is in even worse shape. It's so low, the power plant that generates electricity from the Glen Canyon Dam may not be able to work. Negotiators from California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado are supposed to be making a deal about how to keep these reservoirs from going down too low, but they can't agree on one. If they do nothing, Arizona could be in big trouble. The state has the lowest claim on the Colorado River water. Oddly, here in San Diego, we have too much water. San Diego built an expensive water desalination plant, and we bought water from farmers in Imperial Valley. Where Arizona has the lowest claim to the Colorado River water, Imperial Valley has the best claim. The San Diego County Water Authority bought some of that. All that has been very expensive for San Diegans, and that's why we pay the highest water rates in the country. Now the Water Authority wants to sell. And just recently, the Water Authority took major steps to do just that. The agency is in negotiations right now to sell water to 4 agencies in the Los Angeles and Riverside areas. Even bigger, though, the Water Authority has signed a memorandum of understanding with the federal government that may soon allow it to sell water to Arizona or Nevada. Now, a lot would have to happen for us to get to the point of selling water to Arizona, but it is starting to happen. Local water leaders are only willing to say that this may make some of our future water rate increases lower than they may otherwise be. But the decisions of the future may be more interesting than just about how much money we can save. With the western United States essentially drying up, how much of our claim to the water do we really want to sell? I'm Scott Lewis for Voice San Diego, and that's why it matters.
Public Matters is a partnership with KPBS, iNewsSource, and Voice of San Diego. You can see more of our stories at kpbs.org/Public Matters. The Labor Department's latest jobs report delivered an unpleasant surprise today, and crude oil prices climbed to their highest reading in more than 2 years amid the ongoing Iran war. Karen Kaifa has the latest on the economic uncertainty.
Hiring took an unexpected downward turn in February, with businesses frozen by a cold snap across a number of states and months of economic uncertainty.
We now know that the labor market has essentially stalled. We're in a situation where it is across all sectors. We're not seeing jobs being added.
The U.S. economy lost 92,000 jobs during February, according to the Labor Department. Economists had expected some growth. The unemployment rate ticked up to 4.4%. The healthcare sector, which has stoked recent overall job growth, lost 28,000 jobs in February, much of that attributable to a nurses' strike in California and Hawaii that's expected to reverse in March. Leisure and hospitality shed 27,000 jobs, manufacturing lost 12,000, and construction lost 11,000.
The numbers reflect what I'm hearing from people at home, that the economy is not working for them.
Now, rapidly rising oil and gas prices are ramping up pressure on businesses and consumers.
The nature of gas prices is really interesting because as oil prices rise, those increases fall through to consumers basically immediately.
Crude oil prices continued their climb Friday amid the Iran conflict, and gas prices have reached their highest average levels of either of President Donald Trump's presidential terms. Trump, in a phone interview with CNN Friday, said the rise is short term. Even before the spike in gas prices, retail sales declined unexpectedly in January, the Commerce Department said Friday, raising other concerns about consumer spending, a major driver of U.S. economic growth. In Washington, Karen Kaifa, KPBS News.
Well, here is some good news if you're looking for work. Tourism is big business in San Diego, and right now they are hiring. The San Diego Tourism Foundation and San Diego Workforce Partnership hosted a career fair at San Diego City College today. More than 50 employers participated, including the San Diego Padres, SeaWorld, and San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. Job seekers told our media partner KGTV they appreciate this opportunity to apply in person.
Hiring online, you don't get to see that part of me, you know, but right here in person, you get to see that. You get to see that part. You get to see my energy. You get to see who I really am. You get to see my face. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
And by the way, tourism is the second largest segment of San Diego's economy and supports more than 200,000 jobs in the region. Mobile homeowners who lost everything in the Palisades fire are fighting to keep their land from being sold to a luxury developer. They say they're simply being ignored, unable to communicate with the owners of the property their homes sat on. Hunter Sowards reports from Los Angeles.
This piece of paradise right on the coast of the Palisades is at the center of an all-out property battle. John Brown and Beverly Narayan both owned homes in the Palisades Bowl Mobile Home Park for about a decade.
And you just go straight into that tall tree. My little place is right there.
This is what John's home looked like before the Palisades fire. This is the empty lot that's left. He's one of over 300 left displaced for more than a year.
The way that they're marketing it is just concerning.
He's reacting to this real estate advertisement, describing it as a rare coastal development opportunity. They say the property owners bypassed people who owned homes and are now trying to redevelop the land.
Every single one of those spaces is represented by another human being. To characterize this as a clean slate is an obnoxious, disgusting move to just kick us all while we're down.
For over a year, residents have tried cooperating with property owners, even forming a nonprofit and working with the city and county to protect the status that says this cannot be rezoned for commercial use.
When you look at the mobile home residency law, it's pretty specific on how you can terminate a tenancy, and a wildfire or destruction of the park isn't one of them.
We're begging them to talk to us. We're begging, and Tracy Park's office has been saying, hey, talk to us.
Mayor Bass telling us people have been re-traumatized by this battle, and she supports every person returning home. Supervisor Horvath says there are state and local laws protecting residents of the Palisades Bowl to return to their home, saying she will use every tool to help protect that right.
We need, all these agencies to apply more pressure to the owners and say, look, you're not going to get this change of use. This isn't going to be a Marriott hotel. Why don't we get humbled, face reality, and then why don't you work with us?
The homeowners fighting to return fear their only next step is taking the owners to court.
That's the only thing I can think of how to make them at least come to the table and start talking.
We don't really understand how this could be happening.
Across San Diego County, people are gathering to talk about something many Americans still avoid, and that's death. KPBS health reporter Heidi DeMarco visited a death cafe and says interest in these conversations is growing. Now, warning, this story discusses intimate details of death.
On a recent Saturday morning at the Seaside Center for Spiritual Living in Encinitas, a group of strangers gathered and began sharing stories many people rarely share out loud.
The first experience I ever had is when a sibling of mine, a brother, died at 6 months old. And I was about, 8 or 9 or 10.
Among them is 90-year-old John Girardi. The topic of conversation is death.
I saw an ad in the Encinitas paper about the Death Cafe.
Death cafes started in Switzerland in 2004 and have spread worldwide. Selena Zhang organizes one every month.
I started Death Cafe because I also needed a place to have community to talk about any topic related to death and dying. And there aren't spaces like that available to the community.
In San Diego County, there are a handful of death cafes, some in person, others online. After years marked by pandemic loss, Zhang says more people are willing to talk about the end of life. She started with 30 participants.
This year, particularly, all of a sudden, we've had a steady stream of over 40, so 40 to 50 people.
For some, it's about connection.
So when I told my son I'm going to death cafes, what is that? He said, are you dying? I says, no, I'm there to meet people and talk to people.
Right. Yeah.
For Girardi, it's become a routine. He's attended 10 months in a row.
Just to meet with people and get their perspective of about dying, and I learned a lot.
At each table, there's no expert, no advice, just stories.
At that time, I've lost a young husband, both my brothers, my parents.
The conversations are heavy.
And I remember when I first got the diagnosis that I was taking a shower and I was just screaming.
People wrestling with their own mortality, parents who lost children, spouses grieving long marriages, and yet something unexpected happens.
Did you notice a lot of people laughing? I even tell jokes at my table.
At 90, Girardi is upbeat and still active, quick to smile and eager to talk. He was married nearly 65 years.
I miss her. She was a beautiful lady.
He spent the last 6 caring for his wife through a long decline. That experience shaped how he hopes his own life will end.
I'm not afraid of it. You know, like I said, I keep busy. My hobby's my savior.
In his workshop, he crafts wooden trivets.
Like this one here took me 2 weeks.
Keeping busy, he says, helps quiet the isolation he sometimes feels. It's a perspective he often shares at the cafe. For others, Zhang says the conversations are less about coping and more about planning.
A lot of people find that they don't have their affairs in order, and the light bulb goes off like, oh, I need to talk to my family, talk to my loved ones about what my wishes are. I need to get my advance directive done.
Girardi is learning how many choices exist at the end of life.
They had water cremation, which I didn't know, and they have green cremation where people want their ashes in a compost, you know.
Zhang believes broader culture changes are making death less taboo.
Showing more death-positive images and stories in media is also starting to shift, and I think it's all going in the right direction.
But she says access still matters.
I definitely think these conversations need to be more in communities of color. I think we could do a better job of making this more accessible to more lower income communities.
Back at the center, the tables are buzzing with conversations about fear, grief, and planning, and what people hope for at the end of life.
I've already made up my mind.
For Girardi, it's simple. He'll keep busy in his workshop.
If it comes to a point where I can't do what I'm doing and I'm not able to take care of myself, I'll just go peacefully too.
Until then, he'll keep showing up at the cafe each month.
I wish it was every Saturday.
Heidi DeMarco, KPBS News.
If you or someone you know needs help, contact the 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline by calling or texting the number 988.
It's going to be a windy weekend. Winds increasing through tonight and tomorrow and even into Sunday. So wind advisories are in effect for areas just inland from Interstate 5. A risk of spotty power outages will be a concern. Fire danger is still limited because the vegetation does have some extra moisture, the benefit of a recent wet season that's still winding down. We will be very warm along the coast because of that offshore wind. It's a downsloping wind that takes the warmth right to the coastline. Tonight, 48 degrees, mainly clear skies, and a warming wind will drive temperatures up for the coastline. But here you can see most areas just a little bit inland. Inland portions of San Diego County, for example, under a wind advisory until 5 p.m. Sunday. So to be with us for most of the weekend, and it is a Santa Ana wind event late tonight through Saturday and Sunday. We're highlighting areas inland, just a little bit east of the coastline, and we're looking at gusts of 50 to 70 miles per hour, dangerous crosswinds. There will be the risk for some spotty power outages and some downed trees here and there, mainly in the areas highlighted with that lavender shade. And again, while most of the southwest is cool, it's the opposite right along the coastline. It's a dry, downsloping wind, and that is a warming process. That's going to take our temperatures up to 78 in San Diego, 77 in Oceanside, windy out there, Chula Vista 77, El Cajon 78. You'll notice a little bit different than normal. We're 5 degrees cooler on the desert floor into Borrego Springs. So it really is the coastline facing the most significant warming, and that offshore breeze persists here for Sunday. So still very warm along the coastline. We'll see temperatures back off slightly for the coast on Monday. Turning a little cooler. Will be dry locally, but there will be some scattered rain showers down in the southern parts of Arizona. So locally, here we are. The warmest day likely to be Sunday with a strong offshore breeze. 77 Saturday, 85 on Sunday, very warm, and then temperatures back off to the low 70s. So enjoy that warm up. And inland areas, if the pool's open, and it likely is, Sunday's a good day for that. Inland areas very warm. But if you head a little farther inland into areas like the mountains, well, here we're going to be chilly with a high of only 40 on Saturday, upper 40s Sunday and Monday, and back up to 50 and even maybe a little warmer than that, a big warm up into Wednesday of next week. And the desert locations here, it'll be relatively warm on Sunday, but not as warm as the coastline. 85 for the coast, 80 in the deserts on Sunday. Very windy, though, in the middle of the weekend, and then temperatures stabilize early in the week before a big warm up into midweek. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jeff Cornish for KPBS News.
Actress turned director Maggie Gyllenhaal has reimagined Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with the bride as the central character. So it's fitting for the film to hit theaters during Women's History Month. KPBS cinema junkie Beth Accomando has a review as well as a recommendation for a noir western.
With no lines and only minutes of screen time, Elsa Lanchester managed to create one of the most iconic characters in cinema history.
The Bride of Frankenstein.
Filmmaker Maggie Gyllenhaal had never seen the Universal monster classic, but was inspired to revisit the story after seeing someone's tattoo of Lanchester as the bride. Only then did she watch the 1935 film. So Gyllenhaal didn't come to this project out of a love for the original film or Mary Shelley's source novel. Instead, she saw the iconic bride as a passive character and wanted to resurrect her with agency. Along with a feminist agenda.
What are you sorry for? Did you do something wrong? Something you thought you might get away with?
If Maggie Gyllenhaal wanted to create a Frankenstein monster of a movie stitched together from mismatched styles and genres with reanimated parts from other films, then she succeeded. As writer and director, Gyllenhaal sacrifices Shelley's themes for a contrived feminist story in which women are silenced by literally having their tongues cut out by men. Then the bride repeatedly screams at the audience, "Me too." in case we didn't get the message. But Shelley and the bride are not natural vessels for Gyllenhaal's brand of feminism, so the script contorts and strains to make them fit the agenda.
Monstrous.
Gyllenhaal has an edgy visual style and gets the romance and loneliness of the monsters right.
Until death do us part.
But then she mocks them by using the Monster Mash novelty song as the button to their tale. Honestly, for a Frankenstein story reimagined as a feminist tale, I'll take Poor Things, or even Frankenhooker.
Want a date?
More fun
Going out?
and more effective.
Let's have a drink. I've got news.
And I do. I'll be co-hosting a screening of a truly rare beast, the noir Western. On Sunday at noon, Blood on the Moon plays at Digital Gym Cinema as part of Film Geek's Wanted Dead or Alive, a year of Westerns. Noir's coolest leading man, Robert Mitchum, stars as a cowhand who gets caught between homesteaders and a cattleman. It might be the Old West, but the plot feels very noir.
It starts with your double cross of a bunch of poor, jug-headed homesteaders and the hiring of gun hands. It goes on to your making love to a man's daughter to get her to turn against her own father. It goes past that, to the death of Chris Barden's son, and it winds up right here, with Reardon waiting outside to see if I go with you or if he shoots me in the back.
The film will be introduced by Alan K. Rody, author of a book on the movie. So saddle up with Mitchum for a unique opportunity to see Blood on the Moon on a big screen.
Make up your mind. I won't wait.
Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
Be sure to join us tonight for KPBS News This Week, where we revisit all the most impactful and intriguing original reporting of the week. This Week airs every Friday at 8:30 right here on KPBS. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Enjoy your evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. By viewers like you. Thank you.